very much for tuning in today. This one, we are focusing on the NFL. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different today. So, back when the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl, I do what I always do and do the how was this team built? And so I look at like some of the trades that lead to a team getting a championship win. And one of those was the Kansas City Chiefs moving up to get Patrick Mahomes. And that led to 6 pages of notes and a half-hour podcast breaking down how eventually 15 teams in the league were affected by the trade that brought Patrick Mahomes to the Kansas City Chiefs. And since Kansas City won the Super Bowl, I thought, let's revisit that. So for those listening to the podcast today, first of all, thank you. Make sure you subscribe and leave a review. Secondly, on the back part of this, you are going to hear that trade tree. It's from last year. I did a quick breeze through. I don't think any of it has changed. There's going to be some stats in there that are obviously different. I don't think any of it, though. Like I don't think there's any loose ends that need to be tied up. I don't believe. So we're going to get to that one. For those of you who are just watching today, it's going to be business as usual, but it's probably going to be a significantly quicker podcast than you are used to today, because we're just going to have a quick football segment off the top, and then that will be it. But for podcast listeners, there will be kind of an abrupt jump, and you will get into the Mahomes trade tree. So if you're watching, thank you. Make sure you like the video and subscribe. I promise this part still, where we're going to look at the updated GOAT rankings, and the updated top players in the league rankings for the NFL coming off of the Super Bowl. So that's what we're looking at today. Let's get into it. A little slow on the draw on these today. Okay, let's start with the updated rankings for this season and for now, I guess, for today. So the updated rankings off of the list is Joe Burrow coming off of a tough injury season. It's just he comes out of the top 10. So coming in at number 10, bad person. Don't like him. Don't like giving him recognition. But Tyreek Hill was phenomenal this year. And so Tyreek Hill gets onto the list. By the way, coming up on tomorrow's Football Friday, we are going to do a new trade tree and that's going to be on YouTube here, looking at the Tyreek Hill trade that sent him from the from the Kansas City Chiefs to the Miami Dolphins. How did Kansas City end up doing out of all of that? I'll let you know coming up tomorrow. But yeah, Tyreek Hill ends up on the list. He is at number 10. In at number 9, moving up one spot, is Josh Allen. He certainly had a frustrating year this year, but I thought he really turned it on late and showed you the type of quarterback that he is, so he gets a bump up in the rankings. Staying in at number 8 is Trent Williams, offensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers. Don't know how much longer he is going to be on this list, but he is still the gold standard over at that left tackle spot, so he gets the nod here, the only offensive lineman on here. Moving up 2 spots is Chris Jones. He was a game changer for Kansas City's defense in general when he came in, as well as in that Super Bowl, making a couple of big plays, leading to another championship for the Kansas City Chiefs. So that is why I have Chris Jones coming in at number 7. Coming in at 6th, dropping 3 spots, is Aaron Donald. This isn't so much what Donald did, but just what the others ahead of him did do. Donald is still an absolute force in the middle of that defense for the LA Rams, but it was a defense that struggled a little bit, and so that, I don't want to say it exposed him, but it just didn't put him in the best positions to succeed. So that's why there is a bit of a drop-off there. So leapfrogging him 1 spot is Justin Jefferson. Still the best receiver in the NFL. Even with some subpar quarterback play this year, Justin Jefferson was still able to step up and cement his spot as the top wide receiver in the National Football League, and so I have him as a top 5 player in this league. Then we get 3 defensive players. Coming in at 4, it is Williams' San Francisco teammate Bosa. Again, just an absolute game wrecker. You have to adjust your entire game plan around what he is going to do as a pass rusher, and the adjustment that he made in that Super Bowl, it was the Super Bowl game where he did that, right? Where he goes out, that there's pressure. Yeah, it was against Mahomes. He's rushing around the edge, and that allows the tackle to kind of push him past Mahomes, so he loses contain and gets the first down. A couple of plays later, it looks like he's going to do that and then makes a quick cut back and stops the play dead in its tracks. He has an amazing mind for the sport to go along with the obvious athletic talents. Again, I probably wouldn't want to host a podcast with him, but Bosa comes in at number 4. At 3, it is Myles Garrett. He was the best defensive player on the best defense in the NFL this season. His ability to get to the pass, to get to the quarterback, just made the entire, he, I think, single-handedly carried this team to being the best defense in the league. Obviously, there's help. I shouldn't say single-handedly, but I think he carried them there. And ahead of him is Micah Parsons, who I still think is the best defensive player in the league, coming in at number 2. His versatility can drop back into coverage a little bit, but he is very good at stopping the run and getting to the quarterback as well. I just think he's the best defensive player in the league. And at number 1, there's not a whole lot of debate here. It's Patrick Mahomes. The real debate is, where does he fall in on the all-time GOAT rankings? And so that is also something that has been updated here today. In at number 10, it is Randy Moss. Moss drops 1 spot in these rankings, but still, the championship, he doesn't have it, so that sucks. But he was about as unstoppable as any wide receiver in the history of the sport. He is the number 2 wide receiver on this list. Just a physical beast, recognized, just all of it. Phenomenal career. Down 1 spot to number 9 is Peyton Manning. His ability to read a defense pre-snap and then ability to execute, it was second to none. One of the more cerebral players that has ever played the sport of football, and has the career resume to back it up. He comes in at number 9. Leapfrogging him 2 spots is Patrick Mahomes, already with 3 Super Bowl championships, the 3 Super Bowl MVPs. He is the most talented quarterback I have ever seen in my entire life. And now, again, he has a resume that I think deserves this. Honestly, could probably move him up higher. We have gone through the GOAT rankings before. That was back at the start of the season. But just to update, none of these have changed. All these guys are still retired. At 7, it's Walter Payton. At 6, Barry Sanders. 5, Reggie White. 4, Lawrence Taylor. At 3, I have Joe Montana. At 2, the best receiver in the history of the game, Jerry Rice. And at number 1, it's obvious. It's Tom Brady. He is the GOAT of GOATs. That's going to do it for the show today. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you're listening in podcast form, please remember to leave a review and subscribe. If you are watching this video, again, if you're watching, this was a little bit abbreviated today, but if you're watching, thank you. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Coming up tomorrow, it is a Fights in Football Friday. The fight portion gonna be busy. We are looking at the NFL or the UFC fights to make coming off of UFC 298, as well as our WWE Elimination Chamber preview. So that is what is coming up on the show on Friday. For the Football Friday portion, we're still doing Football Fridays. We are going to look at the Tyreek Hill trade tree. It's not as expansive as the Patrick Mahomes one, but it's still interesting to see how Kansas City did coming out of all of this. And we are also going to look at teams who maybe should consider trading up in the draft to get a starting quarterback. All right, so follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I'm at Primetime Klein, twitch.tv/primetimepk, and you can email this show, couchpotatodiary@yahoo.com. We are also on Facebook, facebook.com/Couch Potato Diary. Thank you all so much, and I will talk to you guys a couple of times tomorrow. I'm out.